Yo, what is up? Today I'm going to be showing you guys an updated guide on how to kill Telos from 100% enrage all the way to 999% enrage. The last guide I made is pretty outdated, so I just want to create this for people trying to push their enrage, get Warden title at 500% or get 1000. First, we're going to go over what the beams do and what happens when you're inside of them. All of these beams cause Telos' adrenaline bar to go up if he is being hit by it or standing in it. Your goal is to block him from being hit in the beam. You do not want his adrenaline bar up. He will do special attacks and it's not good. So if you are standing in the beam though, they have different buffs or debuffs towards your character. The green beam will raise your adrenaline 10% every game tick you're standing inside, but also drain your prayer slightly. The black beam will cause you to do 50% reduced damage, but also receive 50% reduced damage. The red beam will cause you to do 50% increased damage, but also take 50% increased damage. Now, first, I just kind of want to go over the attacks, and I'm going to break it down into phases just so there's no confusion. Phase 1, you have auto attack, tendril grip, barge attack, hold still invader, and the so much power. Now, auto attack's pretty self-explanatory. If you're MD, pray melee. If you're distance, pray magic. These hits do not hit that hard. Even up at like 999%, I think they hit like 2.5, 2.5, 2.6 through prayer. So they're not that bad, but you still do want to pray against them. Don't try to soul split and out heal it. Unless you're at a low enrage, it's not going to work. Now, the first special we have is the Tendril Grip. It basically locks a player into place until they deal enough damage to break out of it. This damage cap that needs to be reached increases with enrage, so as you go up in enrage, you have to deal more damage to kind of break out of this grip. Basically, what happens is your character is locked into place and you start losing HP and adrenaline rapidly until you do enough damage to break out of it, and then you are free. The next special attack he does is the Barge attack, and it's a set amount of damage that increases with enrage. When he stops moving and leans down, he then uppercuts and slides towards your direction. This attack can be negated or reduced by either surge, escape, bladed dive on the same tick he does the attack, or it can be reduced with either reflect or debilitate, or blocked completely with Cade, or blocked completely with resonance. Not healing, hitting a 0. Devotion does not work because this is a typeless damage, so it does not have a specific combat style. Next you have the Hold Still Invader. Now, this attack does have a pretty tricky mechanic to it, but once you get it down, it's pretty much muscle memory. It's very easy to handle, and it's a good way to get all of your HP back during the fight and reduces the amount of food you use. When he starts this, he draws his arm back, slams into the player, causing a stun. Then he will squat down and prepare to jump on the character, and if he lands on you, it will deal high damage and disabling protection prayers on impact for a short amount of time. There are 3 separate attacks you have to pay attention to when dealing with this mechanic. When he draws his arm back, that hit will be either melee if MD or magic if distance. Then when he slams his hand into the player, this will always be a melee hit. This is the one you want to turn your prayer off and resonance on tick. Then he jumps and lands in the general area where he slammed his hand down. You want to run away from the spot where you rezzed and got your heal. Since your goal is to resonance the middle attack or the massive melee attack when he slams his hand down into you, you need to anticipate or free him as soon as the barge attack is finished to prepare for this. If you do not, you will be stunned and take more damage. If you mess up or forget to free him or antis and you find yourself being stunned, don't panic. Simply spam click the resonance ability, and when Telos lands on you, it'll block all the damage for a 0. Now the last attack for P1 is the So Much Power. Once Telos reaches max adren, when the blue bar is at the top, his adrenaline bar, instead of cycling to his next special, he will actually fire this powerful green ball at you. Make sure to use a defensive ability to reduce this or negate this if you get stuck in this situation. Always make sure to pay attention to the blue bar at the top, and if that is full, be prepared for the So Much Power attack. Now for phase 2, there's the similar attacks to P1. You have the auto attacks, the grip, the barge, the hold still invader, and then for the new attacks you have the corrupting virus bleed and the magic onslaught. Now for the magic onslaught, Telos is going to stop moving and start firing magic attacks at you. What you need to do is pray magic and get into the black beam. If you do not get into the black beam, he's going to hold his onslaught forever and his damage is going to go up and you probably will die or assign. So get into the black beam, use defensive abilities if his bar's maxed out and you're taking a lot of damage. If you have to barricade, devotion, whatever. But you want that adrenaline bar completely drained. And if the beam switches, you need to get into where the beam switches. Now for the virus bleed, you will get a timer on your debuffs for about 30 seconds, and you will continue to get hit by this bleed until you get into the beam to cleanse it. The color on your debuff bar will show you what type of virus it is. If it's black, it's a black beam virus. If it's green, it's a green beam. And if it's red, it's a red beam. And if you are unable to clear your virus and the timer does reach 0, you're going to get hit 2 damage similar to the barge attack, so make sure that you clean this virus to reduce the amount of damage you receive. Now for phase 3 attacks, it's auto attacks but only magic, so you can pray magic for the entirety of this phase. He does the barge attack just like the previous phase, the hold still invader like the previous phase, and then he does his virus bleed, only it's a red virus instead, so you handle it the same way. You get into the red beam when you get the virus. And then the new attacks for this phase would be the adrenaline smite and the pulse bombs. Now, I can't stress this enough. It is important to know where Telos' adrenaline is on phase 3, or this phase will be brutally painful for you. His adrenaline bar looks a little bit different than the other phases. It's not a blue bar. Instead, it's a bar with a red area on the left, a red area on the right, and the green line in the middle shows kind of where his adrenaline's at. Now, one thing you want to pay close attention to for this phase is kind of where Telos' adrenaline is. The adrenaline bar looks a little different. It's not a blue bar. Instead, it's kind of a green line showing where his adrenaline's at, and 2 red areas, one on the left, one on the right. The adrenaline smites will happen if it's too far to the left, and the pulse bombs will happen if it's too far to the right. You want to make sure that you have it either in the middle or on the left. To be safe, I would just leave it on the left personally, because having it on the right can be very dangerous with those pulse bombs. There will be 3 golems also that spawn in. They don't attack you, they just kind of stand there and they respawn over time. While these golems are alive, Telos' adrenaline will slowly climb towards the right. So if you find yourself on this phase for a long period of time, try to take those out while also pulling Telos out of the red beam, but then also going into the red beam to cleanse if you receive a virus. You really, really want to keep him out of the red beam for this phase, especially as you're climbing in rage, because if he fires those pulse bombs, it's going to annihilate you, so keep that in mind. Now for the phase 4 attacks, we have his auto attacks, melee and magic, the hold still invader, the small anima bomb, the barge attack, the font anima bomb, and then the so much power like on phase 1. Now, the new attacks for this phase would be the small Anima Bomb. What he does here is he fires a slow green orb towards your character. Once it hits you, it will hit you for a set amount of damage. It'll then start hitting you for bleeds and start draining your stats. It's important to make sure you re-overload after this. If your stats get drained a lot, kind of keep an eye on your overload timers. To clean this, basically run near a font which looks like a coin on the ground. There's 3 of them in there. There's the green one, the red one, or the black one. Now, once he reaches 75% health, he's going to spawn 1 of each golem to attack you. The green ones will get stronger over time, the black ones will reduce the effectiveness of your armor, and the red ones will have a chance to stun your character. It's highly recommended to take out the red ones so you don't have to get stunned, because getting stunned and then getting comboed is pretty annoying, so use Anticipate Freedom to help with this. Make sure, though, you have 1 available for the Hold Still Invader, because you want to make sure that you freed him, and then you can res that attack. He's then going to draw power from the pure font, which is the green one, and charge his font Anima Bomb. What you need to do is stand inside of the font. You'll be hit for 5 attacks. This will also kill the font. The font will then be charged and create a sparkling dome around your character. When he fires off this font Anima Bomb, you need to be standing inside of the sparkly dome, or else you will get insta-killed. Once that happens, he will continue to do his normal special rotation until he reaches 50% health, which then he will walk over towards the next font and repeat the same thing. So make sure that you are charging up these fonts, staying inside of these domes so that you do not get insta-killed. Now for phase 5, the final phase, the attacks include only magic auto attacks, any type of virus, green, black, or red, falling rocks, powerful Anima Bomb, which can be corrupt, pure, volcanic, and then the 6 golems of the same type that spawn in. Now for the virus, it kind of works the same way as the other phases, except when Telos' adrenaline bar reaches 50%, he will instantly hit the player with a virus. It's completely random which virus you will get, whether that will be green, red, or black. you need to go into the beam and cleanse that. For the falling rock attack, how this works is you will see small rocks falling under or around the character, and a few seconds later, a giant boulder will fall on that exact same spot. This attack can be pretty strong, so it's important to either run away or use a defensive ability to reduce it. At a high enrage, this is definitely an attack that can one-hit you. Now for the powerful Anima Bomb attack, he will start charging up slowly after he reaches maximum adrenaline. Now Telos will always use the Anima Bomb of the golems he just previously spawned. So if you have green golems spawning, he's going to charge up his green insta-kill attack. What you need to do is either use Immortality to block it, or you can drag the green minions to the green font to make the font spin so that you can click on that font as soon as he starts charging his attack to cancel it from killing you. Now, you can't use Immortality if you're at 1000% rage or higher. People do 999%, and that is the maximum amount of rage you can use Immortality at. Immortality is very good to use here. You just got to be a little careful if you're dealing with multiple insta-kill attacks. Assuming you don't have Acto and you don't get a reset, you're not going to be able to just Immortality every single one. So kind of keep that in mind.